before you call it Kundalini, learn what it actually is and why it matters.
Have you ever felt a sudden heat rising up your spine? A strange wave of trembling in your body? Dreams that suddenly got more intense than usual? And thought, is this Kundalini? And beyond that, what does that word actually mean, outside of the messy, sensational internet version of it? Stay with me until the end, because today I'm going to give you a clear, grounded answer. What Kundalini means in yoga traditions, why so many people report very real physical and emotional experiences, and how to approach the topic with respect, mystical in tone, but without falling into fear, superstition, or exaggeration. In many yogic and tantric traditions, Kundalini is described as a dormant spiritual energy, not energy in a physics sense, but an ancient symbol for inner potential, the power of consciousness to transform. It's like there's something deep in you, quiet and coiled, waiting for the right conditions to awaken. That's why Kundalini is often pictured as a serpent resting at the base of the spine, not as something dark, but as an old archetype of life force, renewal, healing, and awakening. In that traditional language, this force is linked to Shakti, the creative power of life, the principle of movement and creation itself. So when people talk about Kundalini awakening, they're not just talking about feeling something unusual. They're describing a shift in how life is experienced from the inside. More awareness, more presence, more clarity, and sometimes a kind of emotional clearing that feels like it's coming from layers deep in the body and mind. But here's the key point. Traditionally, this isn't treated like entertainment. It's not a trend, and it's definitely not something you're supposed to force just to prove something is happening. That brings us to the map that usually comes up alongside Kundalini, the chakras. Chakras are subtle centers, described as wheels or lotuses, used as a symbolic language to organize different layers of human experience. You don't have to take them literally to understand the value of the map. Think of it as a framework that talks about layers like survival, emotion, personal power, love, expression, intuition, and spiritual awareness. In this view, Kundalini awakens at the base and rises through these centers, reorganizing, illuminating, and transforming the way you relate to yourself and to reality. Many traditions describe this movement as traveling through a central channel, often called Sushumna, a subtle axis of alignment. And this is where the mystical tone can actually become beautiful. The idea that there's an inner pathway, an invisible corridor. And when you begin to awaken, certain things inside you don't stay hidden anymore. They rise, they surface, they ask for space. But in real life, people don't start with words like Sushumna or Shakti. They start with sensations. Some report warmth moving up the spine. Others report tingling, pressure, spontaneous shaking, waves of emotion, changes in sleep, vivid dreams, heightened sensitivity, a strong pull toward meditation, or sudden moments of clarity that seem to come out of nowhere. For some, it feels healing and liberating, like something clicks into place. For others, it feels unsettling, anxiety, insomnia, or the sense of being too open, like their system is running at high voltage. So here's the question that separates maturity from fantasy. Is it spiritual, or is it physiological? The most honest answer is, it can be both. Because if something is truly changing in your consciousness, it doesn't happen outside your body. Awakening happens inside a nervous system, inside a body that holds memory, inside emotions that have been stored for years, inside patterns of tension you've carried for a long time. So even in a mystical framework, we need solid ground. The body participates. And when the body participates, sensations can be intense. A very practical lens helps here. Practices like breathing exercises, meditation, yoga, and deep introspection can shift your nervous system state. If you've lived for a long time in chronic stress, tight jaw, shallow breathing, constant alertness, then when you start to relax, your body may release a backlog. That can show up as trembling, tears, temperature shifts, sudden emotions, vivid memories. That's not your body being mystical. That's your body being honest. It's processing. And at the same time, if you have a spiritual language for it, you might experience that as purification, opening, or expansion. But here's what almost nobody says clearly. Not every intense experience is progress. Sometimes intensity is just intensity. Sometimes people chase sensations because they want proof, a sign, an event, and that's where risk begins, especially when someone tries to speed things up with extreme practices, aggressive breathwork, heavy fasting, sleep deprivation, overstimulation, or constantly hunting for signs. Traditional teachings emphasize stability, ethics, and gradual practice for a very simple reason: it keeps the system safe. So what does safety look like here? Safety means not forcing. It means building a base: sleep, hydration, nutrition, and a simple routine that calms your body. Safety means grounding, staying connected to real life, a real body, a real day. Safety also means humility, letting experiences come and go without turning every sensation into your identity. Because there's a point where someone stops living their life and starts living the phenomenon. And that's not awakening. That's avoidance wearing spiritual clothing. A practical way to orient yourself is to ask, is this making me more present, more emotionally honest, more compassionate, more functional in daily life? Are my decisions getting clearer? Am I becoming kinder to myself and others? If yes, that's a healthy sign. But if this is bringing persistent insomnia, panic spikes, feeling wired all day, racing thoughts, fear that won't settle, dissociation, or feeling like you're losing your sense of self, then it's time to slow down. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means your system needs grounding, and sometimes professional support. That's wisdom, not failure. And here's the most useful part of this video. Instead of trying to awaken Kundalini, I'm going to offer a safer, more coherent path, a gentle 7-day experiment to build a stable foundation. Think of it like this: regulate first, expand later. Strengthen your base before you go deeper. That's how fire becomes warmth instead of a wildfire. The practice takes 5 minutes. Minute 1. Sit comfortably and breathe through your nose. Don't force deep breaths. Just soften your exhale and let your shoulders drop. The goal is not intensity. The goal is safety. Minute 2. Bring your attention to your feet on the floor. Feel your body's weight. Feel gravity. Healthy spirituality starts on the ground. Minute 3. Gently scan from the base of your spine up to the back of your neck, like your attention is a flashlight. If you notice warmth, tingling, or pressure, simply observe. No drama, no pushing. Minute 4. Place one hand on your chest and one on your belly. Breathe slowly. If emotion comes up, allow it, without turning it into a story. You're teaching your body that it's safe to feel. Minute 5. Close with a simple sentence, like a seal. I choose calm, clarity, and protection. Or, I choose to grow gently. The words matter less than the state they create. Then do one grounding action. Drink water. Eat something simple and nourishing. Take a short walk. Or write 3 lines in a journal about how you feel. Energy may rise, but you need roots. If you do this for 7 days, watch what changes. Don't go hunting for magic signs. Look for presence, stability, a quieter mind, less impulsivity, more kindness, more clarity. That foundation is what most people skip because it isn't dramatic, but it's the part that actually changes your life. Now, back to the question we started with. Is this Kundalini? The most honest answer is that Kundalini is an ancient name for a deep process of inner transformation. For some people, it's purely spiritual. For others, it's nervous system regulation. For many, it's both at the same time. And the real measure isn't how intense your sensations are. It's whether you're becoming more conscious, more stable, and more human. If you want, in the next video I can explain the chakras in a simple way, as both a psychological and spiritual map, and talk about the practices people tend to push too hard, and what to do instead to stay grounded and safe. Thanks for being here. If this helped you, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And tell me in the comments, have you ever felt something that made you wonder, was that Kundalini? Or was it simply you waking up from the inside?